Today's the day for a listener question. This is, I like this. I think this will be fun. Let's see, I have a question that might make a decent video. Currently training and trying to do basic drills. I noticed that trying different guns is making a big difference. However, I somehow perform 2 to 4 tenths faster and nearly 3 times more accurate of my little Walther PPS. So, for people not familiar, it's a, I don't know if they make it anymore, but it's a little single stack, kind of like a Glock 43X. It's a small single stack kind of a carry gun. So it does better with this PPS over any Glock, CZ, or Ruger I own. Not sure why, but I don't want to try USPSA with a single stack subcompact. Any advice? I agree. That gun's a great little carry pistol, but you'd be a little bit miserable at USPSA with it, I think, just because you're going to need a bunch of magazines. I think that's like a 7-round pistol, so it's just capacity's not really on your side. But let's talk about the question. So, a gun that he strongly favors gets much better results than anything else. Why could that be? Well, let's say you have other guns to compare it to. Let's talk about some things you should look at. First off, this happens to be the toy I have next to me. The first thing I'll look at is the grip and familiarity. I'll tie those two together. Sometimes, for example, I've shot the Walther pistols quite a bit for the last, 3 years. So I've shoot other guns somewhat for business during that time. But if I'm just going out to practice on my own or teaching or taking a class as a student, it's going to be some variety of a Walther pistol. With that comes some things. For example, I haven't shot this gun yet, but I already know I'm going to be able to shoot it okay. The reason is, it's a Walther PDP. I've got similar guns like this. I've never shot this exact one. It's got a tick shorter frame and a tick shorter barrel, but I already know where the controls are. I already know how the pistol feels in my hand, the trigger. It's a familiar gun, so I'm going to have a better result just because I've shot those pistols a fair bit. I know how they... Without shooting this gun, I already have a pretty good idea of what the recoil is going to feel like, how it's going to fit in my hand, what I'm going to want to change, the trigger, I already know how that feels, like all that kind of stuff, just because I have experience with it. For example, I had a guy in class today that I'll talk about a little bit. So, a guy with a staccato P, because, let's be real, 2011s are pretty cool, and shooting the pistol a little bit, but struggling with the thumb safety. Not for an issue of being unsafe, just commonly the pistol's up on target and then kind of got to shift the grip to make sure the thumb safety gets deactivated, or trying to draw the pistol and can't quite get a grip where the thumb's resting up on the safety when the gun comes out of the holster, so kind of fiddling around a little bit to get the right hand placement. That way when the gun's on target or up towards the target, you can click off the thumb safety. So, that gun, he didn't shoot super amazing for a couple reasons. One, he only had a few thousand rounds through it, and he just didn't know the operation of it as much, the manual of arms. Still getting used to the safety. I think there was one repetition where he had a compromised grip just a little bit, but it was enough that it wasn't pushing in on the beaver tail safety. So that stopped the gun from going off. So just an issue of not shooting the gun a ton. Can he figure all that stuff out? Yeah, of course. But with limited experience and training with it, it just wasn't second nature. So things like clicking off the safety or drawing the pistol, making sure thumbs on the safety, waiting till he gets up to the target, then clicks it off, or getting up to the target and realizing he didn't click off the safety, that stuff just takes some time. So with that, he also had a Glock 34 with him that he's 15,000 rounds through. So I'm sure you can already tell how the story going to end. He switched after a little bit to the Glock just to see kind of comparison, and right off the bat, it was noticeably better. More comfortable drawing it, doesn't have the issue with the safety, more experience shooting the gun, so it was just easier, honestly, and better results because he knows how that gun feels in his hands, how heavy the trigger is, all the details like that. So sometimes, for the person asking this question, if you have a lot of experience with that PPS pistol, then of course you might be getting better results because of the training you have and the time you've spent just being familiar with it. Those little Walther guns also have pretty good triggers, so maybe you really like the trigger just because it's a little bit lighter. So something along those lines can really influence the gun that you get, like what your results are and how it goes for you. The flip to that, so then, like, yeah, he's pretty good with that, it sounds like, but doesn't want to shoot kind of a compact 6 or 7 round pistol for USPSA. So, like, what advice do you do? Well, the first thing I would look at is the other pistols you already own, because people work hard for their money, and I don't think you need to go out and buy something. It sounds like he already has plenty of choices. I would look at finding one that fits your hand well to begin with. So what I'm looking for is when I grip the gun with my firing hand, that I still have some room for my support hand. If I grab the pistol and it looks like this is not going to work. The things I'm talking about is if this is my regular grip and my fingers come all the way around the side of the frame, now when I put my support hand on, all I'm going to be doing is just gripping over the top of my fingers because there's no room on the frame for my support hand to contact. And you want as much contact with the frame as you can for managing recoil. So instead, you want a pistol that you can get your hands wrapped around. I've got a few videos about kind of fitting the gun to your hand, but I want a pistol that I can grip well and a trigger I can reach. Honestly, I don't care about the rest of the controls as far as the mag release. I like Walthers, but all of them, I have to move it a little bit in my hand to be able to get to the mag release. The slide release, whether I can or can't hit it, no big deal. But I do worry about getting to the trigger. The example, I need to be able to, just my regular grip, get my finger all the way to the trigger, be able to deactivate if there's some kind of a trigger safety, or get my thumb up to contact the thumb safety there, make sure the beaver tail is getting deactivated. Just the size of the pistol and the reach of the trigger is something that I can manage. So I would just pick through the pistols you have, pick the one that you like the best, and then just train with that. Because I'm assuming, again, some assumptions, because it's without talking to this person to get more information, I'm guessing the Walther is something he shot more and has more experience with and is just easier to shoot. So sometimes you just have to build that stuff with a new gun. The example I had of the student today, like the guy was not inept. He just didn't have time with the 2011. A Staccato's a cool pistol. And with some training, honestly, just dry fire training, not even using real ammo, just at home, just understanding where your hands need to go on the gun, kind of getting repetitions so you know how it's supposed to feel and making sure you're clicking off the thumb safety at a safe and appropriate time. Then with some training, you end up getting just as good with that as any other gun. But it does take some time just being familiar with that. And so I wouldn't just say, like, set all your guns side by side, shoot them all, and this one I shoot best, that's the one I should, take with me. If all things are equal and they're all full-size pistols, yeah, that makes sense. But for this, it's like, well, you probably want to look at, of your full-size pistols, what fits your hand the best, what you like the best, and then just train with it, because you want a full-size pistol with, high-capacity or double-stack magazines for most divisions in USPSA. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents on the topic. It's in the comments. I think some of these people were pretty close. One of them said, that just means you aren't that good yet. Keep practicing. You'll find the accuracy is on you and very little with the gun. I would have said it a little bit differently, but I would say, as opposed to saying that just means you aren't good yet, I would just say that you're probably not familiar with that pistol yet. Because, like, any of the modern guns are going to be fine, but one might have a trigger that breaks a little bit different, a little heavier or a little lighter. The frame is a little bit wider, or the trigger is a little bit more of a reach or an easier reach to this trigger. You like the reset on this one. You like the way the recoil impulse feels. Whatever. Every gun kind of has its little nuance. So sometimes it just takes a little bit of practice. Another comment, somebody else in the thread, was to get a smaller grip with less trigger reach. And that could be the reason. Like I said, that could be part of it. Just because the PPS is a smaller pistol and able to get to the controls better and manage it. And The full-size pistols, maybe it's a longer reach to the trigger, or the frame's a shape that doesn't really, like, doesn't fit well, or it's too much to manage, or issues that way. So fitting the gun to your hand is where I would start. I made a video for that. If you you just search fitting the gun to your hand, there's a YouTube video for that, or I can drop it in the show notes. But that's where I would start to make sure the gun is a good fit for you. And then after that, it just takes a little bit of training to get as familiar with the other gun as you are with the PPS. So anyway, appreciate you commenting, giving me questions to talk about. If you guys have a question or disagree with me, feel free to drop it in the comments. If you have something else you'd like me to cover in a video, just drop it below. I do my best to read through the comments, and anything that I can't just answer as a yes or no or a sentence or two, I'll just make a video to talk about it. That's I'm lazy. That's less effort for me than typing out a whole dissertation anyway. So appreciate you watching. Like, share, subscribe, and all that business, and have a good day. Oh, my wife says I like the sound of my own voice, apparently. So there you go. We got that too. Shouldn't you be back in the kitchen? Anyway, appreciate you watching. Have a good day.